Hey, I thought I'd make a quick video since I had my engine apart and you had a lot of questions about putting the valve train together, balancer on, getting the distributor timed correctly, all that fun stuff. Um, I was just going to show you, you're going to use aftermarket poly locks on your rocker arms, which are what holds down these rocker arms. Well, that's well and good, and it is better. Hopefully you're using like an ARP rocker stud. The factory bottleneck studs were designed to have the factory nut torqued to 20 foot-pounds. There's no adjustment. So if you go to an adjustable valve train, which is aftermarket rocker studs and poly locks, you just need to know, how to adjust the valves and when. You see on cylinder number 1 here how I have the intake valve is all the way open. So this is when I would adjust the exhaust valve, because you know for sure that the exhaust is not on the lobe. It's on the back side of the lobe. That's when you want to adjust the valve. You never want to adjust the valve when it's trying to be opened by the cam lobe at all. It doesn't matter what order you do it in, as long as you mark the ones that you've already done. You don't have to have it on top dead center. You don't have to do any of that. You can go through. If you just want to do one side of the motor at a time, you can. Or you could do one valve adjustment on this side, and then go to the other side of the motor and do another one. I suggest use a paint pen so you can mark what you've already done. That way you don't do it 3 or 4 times. And if it's just a normal hydraulic cam, I take it down to 0 lash. What that means is there's no space between the tip of the rocker and the valve stem. Is solid, and you'll feel it when you're spinning the rocker nut. You'll feel it just start to get tight. You don't want to go too far because it'll start pushing the hydraulic plunger down inside of the lifter. You just want to take that slack out, and then you go 1/2 turn, and right before you get to a 1/2 turn, you start tightening the inside set screw of the poly lock, and then you lock them all together at a 1/2 turn, and that's adjusted. Once you get all your valves adjusted, you can put your, I have my balancer off, but that doesn't matter. It's got a laser engraved mark on mine because it's an aftermarket one. But the factory would have had a groove cut in it to line up with TDC, and on a Pontiac, it's going to be on the passenger side where the timing marks are on the timing cover. You just put it at 0. And that's TDC. When you go to put your distributor in, what I do is I will actually back the crankshaft up, the balancer. I will move it counterclockwise about 10 degrees. And then when I put my distributor in, and let's say in a Pontiac, some of them point the rotor that way when it's on number 1 cylinder. Basically it's straight at that side of the car. So then I would take my cap on my distributor, and I would make sure that the rotor on the distributor is lined up dead center with number 1 terminal on the cap. So that way, since the crankshaft is at 10 degrees before top dead center, that will be really close and it'll fire right up when you go to start the car. If you have your crankshaft, your harmonic balancer at 0, and you line up your rotor with the distributor cap, you're going to have a problem because it's not going to want to start. It'll be too retarded. You'll have to advance the distributor to give it more timing. But as soon as you do get it fired up, you're going to need to run it for 20-30 minutes, and you're going to really want to make sure you don't get it too hot. It's okay to shut it off in the middle of the cam break-in to let it completely cool down, and then fire it back up to finish the break-in. But whatever you do, don't sit there getting the thing smoking hot. Put plenty of timing in it when it's running. You want to adjust that timing right away. So you really got to double check everything so that the engine can fire and start to run immediately. It's going to make a bunch of noise in the lifters. It's going to clatter and sound like shit until all the lifters pump up. So that's not an issue, just things you're going to run into. Anyways, I just wanted to touch on a couple of these things because it's too hard to text out. All right, I'll catch you later, man.